Superb. We are going live here on YouTube. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds just to make sure everything is working fine. And then we're going to get straight into it. Alrighty. Okay, I see we are on YouTube. Well, awesome stuff. Awesome. So as you can see, the topic of today is the reason why you are still single. And we're going to get straight into this. This is going to be a show where you can leave. We're going to have a Q&A session a little bit later after I share with you the content, the meat of the show. And then also I'm going to leave a link actually right now, so you have it in the chat. So you can actually come on and ask your question live. So you don't have to put your face on if you don't want. You can always just do audio. Okay, link to join and ask. Boom. Okay, let me leave the link here. Okay, awesome. So if you want to come on and ask your question live, you can certainly do so. But before we get started, how are you guys doing? It's been about 2 weeks since my trip to South Africa. I'll do a separate video on the trip. But man, I must say, I can't wait for my next visit. Real talk. I can't wait for my next visit. I do want to also see other parts of the world, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that on another stream. So let's get straight into it. The reason why you're still single, and I want to share this with you. It seems like there's a massive crisis. Now, I know that this is not happening just now. It's not just a 2024 epidemic. This has probably been going on since the dawn of time, where people has been single and struggling to find a partner. And today I want to talk to you about the reason why you are still single. Some of us has gotten out of a long-term relationship. Some of us gotten out of a marriage. And ever since that breakup, ever since that split, you find yourself not being able to get back into a relationship. And I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the person that is wanting it so bad, that is open. You are actually open. You are sitting here and you're saying, but you know what, Randall, I'm actually wanting to have someone in my life. And it seems like the more you want it, the more you are still single. Now, let me share with you the number one reason why you're still single. Now, this might not be in order of importance, but we're going to go from one to the rest. So the first reason why you are still single is because, listen, you want it too bad. You want it too much. And because of that, the desperation is chasing people away. Look, it's like Tom and Jerry. You know, the more, I don't know who's Jerry and who's Tom, but the more the cat chases the mouse, the more the mouse is running away. And the reason why you're still single is because you've been wanting it too much. You've been wanting it too bad. And there's an odor of desperation that is chasing the very thing you want away. Now, we're not going to hopper on that. Let me give you the solution. Look, you cannot want it too bad. Let me even go further. Why do you want it so much? Now, I'm not coming from a space of where you shouldn't want it at all, or you should play hard to get, or you should play nonchalant. I'm really asking you the question, like, why do you want it so bad? Is it because there's a void you're trying to fill? Is it because there's something that you feel that's missing? You see where I'm going? It then begs the question, what is that void you're trying to fill? You know, some of us has been hopping from relationship to relationship because it's like the moment we get out of one thing, we're so afraid of being alone that we immediately jump into the next, and so on and so forth. What void are you trying to fill? Hmm? Now, I'm not trying to play therapist, but many times it's the case of, let's say, a close family member passed, and now all of a sudden you're trying to fill that void. You're trying to avoid that void, trying to face that void by distracting yourself with a relationship. And let's go even deeper. And I think this is probably the number one reason, or probably one of the top three reasons that I'm going to share with you. Many a times we're trying to get into a relationship because we don't love ourselves. And now we're trying to have somebody else love us. We're trying to replace, come on, we're trying to replace our love with the love of somebody else. And that's dangerous. Real talk. So ask yourself the question, am I giving a sense and a fragrance of desperation? And then ask yourself, why am I so desperate? If you are, right? So that's the number one. That's reason number one. The reason why we're still single is because we are wanting it too bad. Now, let's just stick here for a moment. The reason why the previous relationship didn't work, and let's explore this for a moment. The reason why the previous relationship didn't work, it's because now, we need to examine that. Why did the previous relationship didn't work? Didn't work. Now, I believe in Jocko Willink's philosophy of his book called Extreme Ownership. Now, as a guy, if the previous relationship didn't work out, we're not going to blame our partner, right? No matter how bad our partner treated us, no matter how conniving, whatever the case may be, we're not going to blame. We're not going to put blame. And the reason why we're not going to put blame is because that's a victim mentality. Right? The reason why it didn't work out is because she was such and such. She did such and such. You see, when you don't take ownership, you give the other person the power. Real talk. So the reason why the previous relationship didn't work is because, and this is the mentality you need to take. The reason why the previous relationship didn't work, yes, there is a portion of it that was the responsibility of the partner. But our main focus is going to be right here. The reason why it didn't work was because there were areas in my own life that needed to be improved. You see, when we bring it back to us, the only thing that can happen is self-improvement, and that is what we want. You see where I'm going with this? So always take the stance. When a relationship didn't work out, you know what? There was a part of me that wasn't mature enough. It was almost like a mirror. And this is what I believe in when it comes to relationships. It's like a mirror that you hold up, and it's actually showing you issues, areas of yourself that needs improvement, right? So in order for us now to go back into another relationship, before we do that, clearly there was things in us that needs work, right? So I really want you to really examine, okay, I'm single now. What what was the issues in us that contributed to the breakup? And when we focus on those areas, we can now become a bit more of a complete, a bit more of a whole. It's almost like, and let me paint this analogy to you. And I think it was Bishop Jakes that had this analogy. And he said that when you are fishing, right? Back in the day, they used to fish with nets. And when you cast your net out, the fish would then come in the net. And if there are holes in the net, the fish is going to slip through. And when you pull the net up, you're going to come back with nothing because all the fish slipped through the holes and through the cracks of the net. Now, this is the same analogy when it comes to us being single right now. We have an opportunity to mend those broken pieces of the net so that when we go back out into the sea, aka, no, not back into the streets, but when we go back, right, we can go now back with a net that is stronger, a net that doesn't have holes. You see where I'm going with this? And that's probably one of the best reasons and best times of our lives right now, is because now we can really become a person where there's no more cracks in our net, you know? So that's the number one reason. And if you have any questions, I'd encourage you to go ahead and put it in the comments below. And I've put the link in the comments so that if you want to call in, you can surely do so. So that's the first reason why you are single. Too desperate. Too desperate. And I've given us now the way to overcome that desperation. Instead of focusing on someone else, let's mend our nets. Bow. You know? So today it's, of course, a chilly day over here, hence the hoodie. Boom, boom. I actually dig the swag with the hoodie, actually, with the beanie, actually. So that's the first reason. The second reason why you are still single, and this one you probably haven't thought about, or you probably have, but the reason why you are still single is because of your physical appearance. Straight up. I'm talking to guys right now. Of course, if women are listening, take the gems that you can from this. You are single because of your physical appearance. But I want to go deeper, right? You and I both know you can learn about fashion. You can learn about all these tips online, right? On YouTube. But let's go deeper. The reason why your physical appearance is not attractive, or rather you haven't optimized your physical appearance, it's because of what's happening up here. And what I mean by that is your self-worth. Your self-worth it's almost like it's telling you, I'm not worth spending time on my physical appearance. I'm not worth it. That's essentially the bottom line. In your mind, it's essentially saying, your subconscious, it's essentially saying from years and years of programming, it's saying, I'm not worth putting in the time, putting in the effort, putting in the sacrifice to build up my physical appearance. Because if it was the case, you would be going to the gym. You would be having a skincare routine. You would be making sure that your teeth is optimal. You doing all you can, brushing twice a day, flossing once a day. You would be making sure that your nutrition is balanced. But it's because of self-worth issues that we're not making those sacrifices. That's number two. So instead of just going to the gym now and working out and eating right, just think about, okay, let's just pull the brakes quickly. What is my self-worth looking like? Clearly, if it's 0 to 10, it's 5 and below. And then ask yourself, why is it 5 and below? In fact, don't even ask yourself why it's 5 and below. Just take massive action. First, be aware of where it is on the scale. Where's my self-worth right now? Okay, it's 7. Okay, it's 5. Okay, it's a 3. You recognize where it is. Boom. Let's start the work and let's start improve. You see, many times we spend too much time analyzing, too much time wondering why things are the way it is. My encouragement to you is be aware where it is right now, and then boom, take massive action. And I tell you what, there's going to be an upward momentum because you recognize now, boom, it's at a 4. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take massive action. I'm going to get that gym membership and go get an accountability partner to keep me on track. Once that is done, you're going to see, okay, I'm going to the gym, boom. I'm actually consistent, boom. My self-worth goes up. I'm eating better, my self-worth goes up. I'm taking care of my body, my face, my teeth, my actual body, self-worth goes up. I hope you're getting value out of this. If you are, let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you like this video. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and just click the subscribe button. We want to be at 1,000 subscribers this coming June. That's the goal. And I know we're gonna get there. Ooh, so number one, desperation, why we are still single. Number two, our self-worth, which is affecting our image, which then ultimately affects how people perceive us and it's keeping us single. Number three, and this one's going to be a bit deep, but I believe it's going to be a transformative one if you take action on this one. So the reason why you're still single, it's because, and this might just be a point B to the first one, but this is one on its own because of the gravity of it. Now, no matter what religion you are, let's put religion aside. And let's just focus on the grand concept of this point. The reason why you're still single is because There is a God-sized void. There's a God-sized void in all of us. Now, stick with me right now. Now, there's a God-sized void. There's a void inside of us that only God can fill. Only. Real talk. Right? Now, this is not a religious talk. Just look at it in the grand scheme of things. Now, because there's a God-sized void in all of us, a lot of people don't know that. And because they don't know that, they are trying to fill that God-sized void with something, thinking of a word of opposite of, okay, so they're trying to fill it with something worldly, right? So because there's this God-sized void, they're trying to fill it with a partner. They're trying to fill it with drugs, alcohol, eating, any addiction you can think of. They're trying to fill that void with something worldly. Now, my encouragement to you is that because now we know that there's a God-sized void in us and something worldly cannot fill it because it's so big, only God can fill that void. So my encouragement to you is fill that void with God. Real talk. Because I tell you why. If you don't fill that void, you're going to be constantly on this hedonistic treadmill that you're going to try to fill, and it's not going to quench that thirst. Week in, week out, you're going to try to fill that void. And you're wondering, why am I on this chase? It's because that void can only be filled with God. Does that make sense? Huh? You know, because it's interesting because I've been, of course, because I'm 36 right now, right? So I've been in spaces in nightlife with the media where when I look, and I'm in a club, for example, and I look around and I see people dancing, I remember always having this thought, and I see people dancing. And in my mind, it's not coming off a space of judgment, but it's in my mind thinking, you know what, there's a God-sized void in every one of us. And, you know, you see the same people over and over coming to the same venues. You know, I've worked in as a bouncer, I've worked in as a DJ, and you wonder, you know, they're coming week in, week out. And because there's this void that once you are aware of this, that void will be filled, number one. And then when you do finally go and meet someone, it's not a case of where you're using them to fill that void, but now you are actually meeting them and they are not filling a void, but they are really complimenting you in your journey and you complimenting them in theirs. Right? So I hope that made sense. We're going to keep this one short and sweet. And I'd encourage you, if you have anything else to add to this video, make sure to add it in the comments below. And remember, you know, like I always say in every video, we're not here just to survive. We are here to thrive. And, you know, before I leave, I want you to keep this in mind. Whenever you watch a video, whenever you watch one of my videos, I want you to know that this is coming out of a good space. It's coming out of a healthy space. Because many times when we have talks about relationships and being single, and sometimes it can be very dark. And I'm saying this because when I look at sometimes my comments and when I look at comments on other creators' channels, it really gives me a heavy heart just seeing just seeing where we are at in the society. And my encouragement is that I want you to keep the faith. Keep the faith, man. Because the moment you go into this level of apathy and level of self-pity is the moment, that's the very moment it's harder and harder to get out of. And the longer you stay in that downward spiral, nothing good can come out of there. So know this is coming from a good place. Know that I love you. Know that I care. And until next time, peace.